Are you interested in raising sheep? I am. I've been clearing the property, sitting here in my bulldozer, and I'm going to give you a quick review of Abram Bowerman's The Practical Shepherd. The book, and I'm a voracious reader. I read a lot, and this is one of the few books that I can say is not just enlightening, but empowering. And it feels weird to say that. That's a word I hear a lot, and I feel like it's overused, but in this case, I think it's accurate. He gives the story of how he became a shepherd. He currently raises about 400 sheep. So that tells you that, and he does that himself. He does not have employees to help with that. And so he's got a bunch of different chapters. I will not read them all because there are 48 of them. But I will go to the chapter where he basically gives some bullet points. I'm going to read a few of those for you to give you an idea of what this is like. You can find the book at Stockman Grass Farmer if it interests you. Bullet point number 1. Forbs for sheep and brush for goats are essential, just like grass is essential to the well-being of cattle. Shepherds should tailor pasture management to utilize forbs without eradicating them. Number 2. New shepherds often enjoy wonderful sheep performance for 2 or 3 years until their flock has eradicated the forb component of the sward and become 100% grass-fed by default. If cattle are managed in a way that eliminates grass from their diet, herd resilience will suffer. The same thing happens when sheep lose access to weeds. Bullet point number 11. Commodity lamb prices are generally at the low part of the price cycle for longer than they are on the high side. The low side of a price cycle often matches cost of production for high input producers. Bullet point 12. Least cost producers can ride out price cycles by identifying and eliminating unnecessary costs from their production model. Just don't confuse least cost producers with cheapskates who try to starve a profit out of their flock. 16. Stress and malnutrition are the passwords that allow internal or external parasites to take out a sheep. Anything the shepherd can do to mitigate stress will improve resistance to parasites. 18. Even though parasite resistance is thought to improve with age, young, therefore susceptible lambs are protected from parasitism by their mother's milk, provided the ewes are strong and healthy. 20. Easy fleshing ewes who fail to raise lambs annually may accumulate fat in their udders. If a ewe has a large udder at lambing time, but 10 days later her lambs appear to be starving, she probably has an udder full of fat, thereby reducing her milking ability. There is no cure for fatty udders. Cull the ewe. 21. The number of lambs weaned per ewe is much more important than how many lambs are born. I call this the lamb production percentage. Raising the production percentage is best accomplished by culling low performers rather than selecting for triplet births. 23. Longevity, the duration of productive life, is a constitutional trait that varies in different breeds and families. 28. People who manage to stay in animal agriculture long-term by nature are very patient, or at least learn to exercise in that capacity. Change and improvement take time. Rash decisions bring dire consequences. From conception to birth and birth to sale, patience is a virtue, a character trait of successful stockmen. 29. The difficulty of learning something new is not the new ideas, but giving up old notions. If you want to make small changes, change the way you do things. If you need to make a radical difference, change the way you see things. Observation is fundamental to successful stockmanship. Let it guide your actions. Boy, that really rings with what Joel Salatin mentioned about the hardest thing to get people to change. People would say, I'll believe it when I see it. But the reality is, you can't see it until you believe it. If you are open to making a change or just starting something new, give this book a shot. But you've got to have an open mind. And this is not a nuts and bolts of how do I build electric fence, where do I source the supplies and things like that. He does give some details of things like how the heights he sets his wires, how he feeds his dogs, and things like that. But in general, it's kind of a 10,000 foot overview of the big picture, how to make everything work and why that works. And I just found it inspiring. So guys, if you've read the book, I'd love to hear your opinion on it. And if you haven't read the book, I'll be happy to answer any questions. So please drop a comment.